Earlier this year, everyone was switching to Claude Code. And over the last couple of months, everyone is switching to Codex. And 6 months from now, it would be someone else entirely. It might be Gemini or Claude Code might make a return. But every time a new AI agent comes along, I see teams and founders making the same mistake. They rebuild their entire workflow in the new tool. They reconnect integrations, they move all their skills, and a lot of context is lost in this process. And it's even more chaotic if you are using Codex and Claude Code at the same time. But here's the thing, the AI agent or the interface shouldn't be the foundation of your system. It should be the things that plugs into your foundation. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how do you build that infrastructure that sits beneath your AI agent so that your team can easily move between these tools and don't miss out on the months and months of context that is being created. Most teams fixate a lot on Claude Code, Codex, Cursor, but it's not the main thing. The real deal is the infrastructure beneath it. And that is all you should focus on. It basically sits beneath the agent itself. The models like Opus 5, Fable 5, all of them comes in this first bucket. These models are used by your AI agent, and then this entire infrastructure is what powers your agent. And this is the exact setup that we charge 2 to 3,000 for setting up. And in this video, I'm gonna break down each part of it. So make sure to subscribe and like this video. Let's get started. First, let's start with what are the core requirements of the system, how it should be built out. The first thing, it needs to be modular and agent agnostic. It should work with both Claude Code, Codex, or any other AI agent that you are using. Second thing, just so that the barrier of entry is low, you can set all of this just with free tiers of the tools that we are gonna use. Third thing, it should be secure by default. It should not make your system vulnerable. It should be easy to maintain, and before every change happens in the system, there needs to be a human who approves everything. So human approval is needed. So those are the core requirements and basically the philosophy on how this entire system is built. Now, the 7 core parts of the system. First is memory. So you would already know about it. Most of the tools like ChatGPT, Claude already have it. The difference over here is you can use this across Claude Code and ChatGPT and Cursor or any other tool that you're using. And the second important part is you will have more control over this. So rather than the normal memory where it keeps automatically updating it, this time we'll build it this way that you approve every change that happens within it, so that you can maintain this over the period of time. And lastly, you can make this universal across your organization, so you don't have to keep iterating the same facts again and again to different teams or to new hires. The second thing is storage. So this is sort of like a shared drive that your team would be using, and these are files that you have to upload in ChatGPT or Claude every time. For example, these would be your yearly marketing plan on any other file. And the next component here, index, is basically a map for the storage so that AI can easily go through all of these files, understand which file is required when, and then fetch it, rather than actually fetching the file first and then understanding what it has. The fourth important thing is skills. You would have already used skills in Claude and ChatGPT. The only difference here is that this would be now customized for your entire team. So you can use the same skills across your entire team. And this will give you 2 major benefits. One is like everyone have access to skills that are already built by someone else. So they don't have to put in extra effort in things that already exist. And second is interoperability. So they can create new skills on top of the existing skill files. The fifth component is secrets. So these are things like API keys, environment variables that are sensitive, that you cannot share with everyone, but still it is required for some of these skills and subsystems to run. We would be discussing that what is the ideal way of doing this if you would want to do it across your company. And the sixth part is observability, which basically means that you will be logging all the AI responses and everything that you do, so that at the end of the week you can do a audit. So basically AI would be doing this audit and recommending you changes within your system. So the memory, the storage, index, like what changes needs to be done so that all of it stays updated over the period of time. So let's start with the first component, which is memory. The core suggestion over here is that you use a markdown file hosted on GitHub for this. GitHub is basically a Google Drive, but it is specifically created for coding. If you are a team of multiple people, it helps you version changes easily so that you can go back and understand what changes were done by a team member. First of all, you need to have like a skill file along with this markdown file that tells your agent on how to update this. And the second thing is you can have multiple memory files. So either you can have this one memory file where you save everything, or if you have a team of multiple people, make sure that you have this one core file and then individual files where memory for each of these different users are being created. For example, your designer and developer would want a separate memory file. Each of these memory files should only contain distilled facts. It should not include in-depth information. It should have facts about the processes, about your company, what exact approval rules are there. And finally, it should also have a map of all the skills that are being used within your company. And finally, make sure that you keep it short, because this memory file would be fetched every time when a discussion is happening. So you would want to make sure that it's short and does not eat up a lot of context of your agent. Next thing is storage. So the core recommendation over here is that you use Cloudflare R2 for this. So Cloudflare is another developer tool. This is free to use. It has a very generous free tier. And this is much easier to use than other alternatives like Amazon AWS. So this is really important because you would be saving all your files here and you will keep updating this. Make sure that you have the right folder structure here. You can either upload all your files directly and just ask Claude or GPT to figure out that what is the right folder structure for you. And you can just put in all your bulky documents on your Excel files, PDFs, and like the rest of the uploads here. And this works in parallel with your index, as we discussed earlier. And your index would be sort of the map for your agent to use this. So the recommendation over here is to use Cloudflare D1 for this. So this again is included in the free tier, and the Cloudflare D1 is so this will be a database, basically sort of like a sheet which contains all these fields: the file name, the one line context of that exact file, what is the location of that file. So this would be defined by what folder structure you plan to keep in the storage. And finally, what are the created and updated dates for this? So as your system gets used over the period of months and years, you would be updating some of these files as well. And that is where it is important that you keep the updated tag as well, so that you know when was the last time you updated this document, and if this is the newest one or if this is not updated yet. Some of you AI nerds might be thinking, why not use a RAG here? So there are three major reasons for that. Like first, because the RAG gets polluted over the period of time. You cannot keep using the same system without having a maintenance routine around it, which is difficult to do. The second thing is it does not give you complete information. So it gives you chunks of information that are relevant for your prompt, but it does not give you the entire file. If you are looking to understand your last year's revenue, it will basically fetch those exact rows from the sheet, but it won't fetch the entire sheet. So that's why it gives you sometimes incomplete information. And lastly, it is just complex to set up. You need to do things like chunking, and you have to do it every time. That's why with the current models, which are smart enough, it's much better to use a combination of index and storage rather than using a RAG database. Moving on, the next important component here are the skill files. So you would already have different skills for doing different parts of whatever you do every day. You would be saving this in the same GitHub repository where you have saved the memory file, and this could have different skills for fetching analytics, reading documents, updating the index. And the reason why this helps is because first thing is, like, now all your skills can be accessed by anyone in the company, so you don't have to keep generating new skills. If you have created one skill for checking analytics of your LinkedIn, there would be other people in the company who would want to use the same skill as well. And the second thing is it also gives you interoperability. So if there is already one skill that is used for pulling the analytics of LinkedIn, you can use parts of that skill for also creating a post on LinkedIn. And over the period of time, creating skills become easier as you have this master repository of all the skills. So these skills, every time when they connect with an external service like LinkedIn, they require you to use the API of that specific service. And for using that API, you need to use secrets and environment variables. Basically, these are secret tokens that let the service know that the right person is accessing them. But if you are using them across your team, sometimes what happens is that these get leaked over the period of time, and then you would want to change this. But if you change this, then you would have to again share it with everyone, and that also increases the risks of this being stolen over the period of time. That's why it's important to have a layer in between, and that is exactly the next thing over here, which are secrets. So it's important to have a service in between which takes all your secrets and they are stored there, and you just provide the access of that one tool to everyone, and that tool will save all the API keys, the environment variables, and keep rotating them so they don't get leaked over the period of time. My recommendation over here is to use a tool called InPhysical. It also has a free tier, but you can use any other tool. And finally, the main component that most people overlook is the loop of observability and audit. You need to have two components here. First is a service that basically looks at all your web portal and things apart from the main AI agent and gets all the data from here. And the second thing is a software for tracing all the AI conversations. So it will basically save parts of your traces and what different tools were called for doing the entire request. So over here we would be using Langfuse, and over the period of the week, this will create recommendations. So all this data will then move on to your AI, and your AI basis this will create recommendations that you would be actually looking over in the audit phase. So some of these would be created by AI, but again, all the humans that are using the system, all your team members would also be creating some of these recommendations. So those would come over here as well. So in this audit step, you will know that who did what and why a recommendation is being proposed and what needs to be changed within the system because of that. Like you can either set this up that people are able to just change it at any point of time, and you can just see who did it, and then you can revert it at the end of the week if you want to. So this is how the entire loop will look like. Like there would be a weekly refresh where first your agent recommends all the changes, plus like your team would have already made some changes. There will be this one admin or human who approves everything, so that someone has a broader idea of how the system is working. Memory index skills files would be updated, and this would be versioned in GitHub. So you can also revert these changes down the line if something is looking off, or if a team member did something, you can see who did it and you can also revert that. And with this, the context stays clean over the period of time, and you just keep repeating this loop every week, so that over an year, over a couple of years, this entire system does not get polluted, but it compounds. You have more skills, your memory now has all the required things, and this makes your organization faster. One of the companies where we set this up, they are a compliance company. Before this, like they were creating a couple of documents every day, but once we built out this entire system for them, they were able to build 5 to 6 documents every day. It just increased their throughput by 3x, and that just means they will get 3x more revenue because now they have time for more clients. So that is the power of building a system like this. And lastly, like this system also enables you to do something else. It's not on the slides here, but it helps you create a foundation. So this foundation can then be used for building internal tools. So if you would want to build a AI powered internal tool, for example, building an audit trail, so then you can use all of these infrastructure that you have built underneath for creating that internal tool. Last year, when we were building AI agents directly, it used to take us around a month for building an agent. Now that we have this foundation ready, it only takes us 3 to 4 days for creating one internal tool. So that makes your entire organization a lot more faster internally. Now, what I would want you to take home from this video, just know that AI agents are replaceable. You should not depend on Claude Code or Codex for all your work. You need to make sure that you have an infrastructure that sits beneath it, that saves everything, organizes everything, and that infrastructure compounds over the period of time. And that also becomes reusable because all your team can use it, and new hires take much lesser time to get onboarded because all the information is saved in a place. And if you would want a system like this, but right now you don't have the time or the expertise for building this out, make sure to check the link in the description so you can book a infrastructure audit with us. And over there you can get all the details around it. We would be setting up the system for you. It takes around 3 to 4 days for setting this up for you, and you will find the rest of the details over there. We'll just book a call with you. We will audit your existing AI use cases infrastructure, and then we'll recommend what you need to build. Either you can build it yourself or we would be building this out for you. And you can also find the testimonials and results of other people who got this built out at their company. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. In the coming month, I would be creating a longer video where I will walk you through each of these steps on how you can set this up yourself. And that's all for this one. I'll see you next time.